Well, you got 2 exhibitions under your belt. What have you learned about this squad so far?
We've got depth, experience, which is good. High energy, athletic. So yeah, it's a good squad that we put together. Really happy about it.
I'm sure it's been a focused, intense off season for you. What were your biggest priorities? What do you hope you improved, and you hoping to see once you take the field for real this week?
Yeah, re-establishing the basics for us. Probably moved away from that, and so re-establishing that in January and making sure that we bedded in a bunch of new players in January, and then we did it again over the summer, and so that was the focus in January through the spring, and then continued that into the summer, and then into these first couple of weeks of preseason.
And how about just team chemistry? How do you feel like that process has gone long term, and where are you at right now?
We did a good job. Right before preseason, we marched them off to the woods of Oregon. Figured if we live in Oregon, we might as well take them into Oregon. So Port Carolina landed off of a plane from Lithuania, and then we drove it 2 hours from here into the woods to go camping. So no, we've done some different things as a team, and then to be honest, our leadership group, Trinity, Mako, Sydney, Hennessy, Livy, they've done a really good job in making sure we stay accountable in the locker room. So they've done a really nice job with that stuff.
What was the off season like learning about your opponents in the Big Ten?
A lot of film, a lot of watching those pieces. I'm familiar with some of the coaches just from knowing them professionally and things like that. So we've watched games over time. We've had crossover opponents before when we were in the Pac-12 and that piece. So yeah, I was just watching more games.
Some of the veterans. Go ahead.
When you look at the film on Seattle as you get ready for them, what kind of sticks out?
They've always been athletic. Julie does a really good job there of getting good kids out, local kids. They get a lot of kids that transfer back into that area as well. So they'll be athletic, they'll be organised, they're always good up top, and so yeah, they'll be a tough opponent.
Some of the veterans that you brought in that have had some success, have they had the impact kind of culturally on your program that you might hope that those kids could bring in?
Yeah, massive. I mean, when if you go all the way back to the start of the spring, you bring in a kid like Mako that's won a national championship, been to a Final Four, captained a country like Japan, captained that country, and just in terms of the maturity level that she's able to bring in. Sydney Hennessy is just a big character, and we knew that when I spoke to the head coach of Tennessee, and who's a friend of mine, and I spoke to him. I was like, hey, what do we get from this kid? And like, be ready for a big character, a great kid, and that's exactly what she is. And so, we did our homework. Sean and Rach did a really good job. We made sure we went and got kids out of the portal from places that we knew and coaches we trusted. So we knew exactly what we were getting from the character standpoint, and they've all exceeded expectations with regards to that piece.
And how about the returners? Obviously a lot to learn from last season. Yeah. Do you feel like they've processed that in the right way and are looking to kind of grow from that this year?
Yeah, we closed the chapter on that in January. That was easy to close with regards to that piece. And yeah, the maturity piece, we played a lot of young kids for a reason. And so players like Grace and Cam and Lauren Kenny, they've got big minutes under their belt that, typically young players wouldn't get. And then, Livy still only got her big minutes last year, you remember, and obviously Trinity as well coming back. So we got other players, Ella Osmussen, I'm sure I'm forgetting players, but yeah, lots of experience there as well.
Well, a lot of familiar faces back in goal, and how big of a key is that?
Yeah, huge to return all 4 of them in terms of that piece. Maddie, Anna, Julia, Leah, they've had a really good off season, whether it was playing in the summer or this preseason as well. So yeah, a lot of experience there, which is good, vital position.
What have the conversations been like with the team regarding, travel this season? A lot's been made of, going out to the East Coast. Do you feel like the team is ready for that?
You want to know the craziest stat? We'll miss less class in the regular season of the Big Ten than what we did in the Pac-12, which is crazy to think. Everyone made this big deal of it. So we obviously have tournament play to deal with. That's different than when we were in the Pac-12. But, in terms of how the schedule shifted a week earlier, I think we're 13 games into the season before we end up on a road trip before we start Big Ten play. So, and the ability to play 1 game weekends away at Washington, away at USC, and shifting them to the Saturday and the Sunday means, it's fairly easy. And then, we've obviously the school have done a really good job at helping us with resources. So, and we used to go east once a year anyway. And we went to New York a couple of years ago. I went to Texas a few years ago as well. So we're used to doing it.
Not that I'm in a position to ask deep X and O questions, but what do you want the character of this team to be in terms of style of play? What are fans going to see? What do you want the character of the team to be that way?
Yeah, Wyatt and the sports science guys have done a good job of preparing us physically. So we want to be on the front foot. We want to be, when our teams have been at our best here, we've been on the front foot in terms of pressing teams and things like that. And we brought a lot of attacking players in, so we want to be on that front part of the field. Got some really good athletes in terms of the set piece part of it, servers. So all around, we want to be on the front foot, attacking team, good on set pieces, and that's when we've been at our best.
With it being the similar group of keepers, just Maddie and Leah both spending time in goal last season, what kind of jump have you seen so far heading into this year?
Well, the thing with goalkeepers is it's all about the games that you play. I mean, it's training is irrelevant. It's a big position based upon experience, huge. And so, Maddie's obviously got a bunch of games under her belt with regards to that. We were able to get the others games in the spring. Some of them got games in the summer for summer league teams. So just that experience alone gives them more presence, more stature and things like that within the group.
It's a big freshman class. How are you planning on utilizing them during the season?
Well, the great thing this year is we don't put as much pressure on the freshmen, you know what I mean, in order to have to contribute right away. We brought in a lot of experience. I think, not to go back to last year, but last year I think we had just over 260 games of experience on the entire roster. This year we're up at 700 games of experience on the roster, and we did that on purpose, and so we don't put as much pressure on that freshman class, but they've been great. I mean, they fit in great, and they've got after it, and they're learning all the time, and they've got really good mentors around them to help them keep learning as well.
Is there one that stands out more than the other?
I think Chloe, Carly have adapted really, really well to the group. Carolina has adapted. I mean, whenever you're coming from Europe, the American game is just different. It's blown over 120 yards as opposed to a tighter game, and she's adapted really well. So Ari's done really well in the minute. She's got Taylor Pearson came in early in the spring and did really well in the spring. He's got a goal here in the preseason as well. So yeah, they've all adapted really well and knuckled down. So it's been great.
I know the U.S. staff and squad has changed since you were there, but what was it like seeing Emma Hayes lead the U.S. to Olympic glory?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they've got themselves back on the right track, I think for me it was exciting seeing Alyssa doing what Alyssa's done, and she's the best goalkeeper in the world, and that was always her goal, and it was cool to be a part of her journey. But seeing her lead that team in the way she did that, she deserves that piece. But yeah, they've reset things now, and the World Games move forward. So, and Emma's moving forward quickly as well. So another era for the national team for sure.
What was it like that first exhibition game? Does it feel any different this year? Does the tide feel like it's changing?
Yeah, for sure. There was, I think going forward we were really, really good in terms of that piece. We had some things to fix in the back, but just the overall energy of the group was terrific in terms of the way we went about it. And the game should have probably been about 6-6 in terms of how it went, in terms of back and forth and that. But no, we're really happy how we went on the attacking side of things, and we've been fixing the things in the defending side of things.
Are there any specific boxes you're looking to check in the non-conference season, or any sort of measurement of success as you enter actual Big Ten play?
Yeah, win as many games as you can is the number one piece, and making sure that everyone understands inside the team how we're trying to play and defend a set piece, attacking set pieces. When we don't have the ball, we do have the ball. All those different pieces, and so it's continue to hammer home those pieces and learning from game to game, and it's going to be different in the Big Ten. So looking forward to that piece.